Hello? Ah, there it looks like it's triggering. The output device was like not selected. Yeah, I think I had the wrong setting selected for the sound. It like didn't recognize my input source before. All right. So, gonna restart, I guess. Technical difficulties. So the plan for today, I want to try to build some integrations with build out some integration with open APIs, ChatGPT. There's been a lot of cool updates lately with AI and its ability to generate cool conversations and provide feedback on different things. So I thought it would be neat to have the ability for users to get feedback on workout progress or workout plans, or even help generate workout plans for you with ChatGPT. So I've actually been doing it on my own, like outside the scope of this project, kind of as a test run. And it's been really cool, interesting. I kind of gave ChatGPT what my plan was, what I was trying to do. And I gave it a list of equipment that I have available to me. And it's generated nice little workout plans for me. So right now I have like a 5-day split. It generated kind of like a push day, a pull day, a legs day, arm day, and then like an interval cardio type day. And then it even gives, and I tell it like how long my workouts need to be, and it formats it in a way that fits my needs. So I thought it would be interesting to try to take that type of functionality that I'm doing with pen and paper and integrate that into the app. So the goal for today was to start building some of the database models that we need to contain that conversation and that history, and also build the domains for the model and for connecting with ChatGPT. So that's kind of the goal. So just to kind of look at the board a little bit, I did spend some time this week. I did 22 and 23. So I found this big data set a few months ago. I guess it was like November timeframe, with 2,500 workouts that are possible that people typically would do at a gym or at home or whatnot. And it gives like strength training, stretching, all kinds of stuff. And I think I showed it week 1. So I did end up making a script to parse that data, import it into our database. So now I filtered it down. There was a lot of stuff that I just didn't care about. So we can actually look at the script. So I have that. So as you can see here in the project itself, I've added in 2 new folders, a fixtures folder, which is a Django convention. So anytime you're having data that's like exported from your database, or is kind of like repeatable stuff that you want to be able to import directly into the database, they suggest using this like fixtures folder as the name. And so I have fixtures where I have, I think, almost 1,300 of these exercises. And you can see this is a dump from the database itself. Django has a nice little dump command. So if you do Python manage dump data, and then you can tell it how you want it to dump the data, and it'll generate this kind of JSON file for you, which is super nice if you want to have like a backup, or man, there's got to be something wrong with my MacBook that's causing it to do that. But you can do these dumps and create a backup, so that way whenever I maybe want to wipe the database during development, I don't lose all of this stuff. I can just import the data back in and keep going, and I haven't lost anything. So I have this now, and under here you'll see I have like a little script. It's got to be something with MacBook. I don't know why that's causing that. So one thing that I noticed and was going to run into while I was messing with this data set is there was a lot of duplicate names or things that were very similar. So I could, like, a good example is I would see pull up. There would also be pull ups, and then there would be pull-up. And so I found that there's this little library called Rapid Fuzz that does a good job of helping identify stuff that's duplicates from our set. So I ended up doing it kind of this way. There's some filtering in here. There were a ton of duplications in the sense that like I would have barbell curls, BFR barbell curls, UP barbell curls. I don't know what all these were. Gethin variation of barbell curls, whatever. So I filtered all this stuff out because I didn't want it. And I also noticed that some of them would be like ending in a hyphen for some reason. So I got rid of all that stuff. And yeah, so this is kind of the script that I did. There was some filtering and like rematching that I needed to do for the equipments, but then I just ended up creating them putting them into the movement object and doing a bulk create on all of them. The reason why I did the bulk create is so that way I only make one database query for all of my records instead of hitting the database 12 or 1300 times, whatever it was. I only had to hit it once with the bulk create. So that's done. The other thing I added is support for environment variables. So there's a nice little Django plugin or package that's built for Django. I think it's Django-Environ, and they give you this ability or make it easier to load environment variables. And so now my settings, you'll see like it reads from the environment to load these different variables. And so you'll see like the debug one is tied to the environment, the secret key is tied to it. And eventually when I migrate from the SQLite database, I'll have settings related to like the Postgres database that I'm going to end up setting up and that kind of thing. And then I also have one for the ChatGPT API key that I generated. So, time for water. So, I do believe that kind of gets us caught up with where I left off last week and the work that I kind of, not super interesting work, but work that I needed to do that I did off stream during the week to kind of get set up for the more interesting stuff. So let's go back to here. So what I need to do is I want to build the initial models to support integrating with ChatGPT. The model should retain messages that have been sent to and from ChatGPT, as well as an initial prompt message. The message should allow for us to easily identify who generated the message. Each message should be independent, allowing us to provide as much or as little context to ChatGPT as we need. Perfect. So, to provide, I guess, context as to what's happening, in ChatGPT, when you're using the API, well, actually, so let's talk back first on like the actual website or the app on your phone. So when you go onto the website and you open up a new chat with ChatGPT, it will retain information sometimes, for the most part, just based off of that context in that chat that you're within, that you're typing in, depending on which model you're using and all that stuff. So when you open ChatGPT and you say, hey, I want to generate a workout plan, that thread is the details that ChatGPT basically like recognizes and will look at. And so that history is localized to that thread. So depending on which model you open, if you open up another thread, that thread is not going to have any knowledge of the workouts. Say you want to talk to about eating, that the eating thread will be separate and vice versa. So you'll have two separate threads and so on. When you're using the API, each message that you send to ChatGPT is independent from one another. So it has no notion or no idea that, like, if I send it a message right now, it has no details about history or anything like that. And then if I send it a second message, it doesn't know that I already sent it a message previously, and doesn't like it doesn't keep them as in like a conversation history. So what ChatGPT recommends is you create like these kind of this structure of a conversation. So let me see if I can see. I have the documentation up on the other screen. Let me kind of pull it up to show what I'm talking about. Oh, my whole screen is like disconnected. That's where is what I want? I'm trying to find like a good example of kind of how it works. Okay, so this gives a little bit of a little snippet. But we see here, so this is using the Python library to generate. So you're gonna create an instance of the client, and you're gonna send this like to the chat completions. And what you can do is you pass it this list of messages, and each message is its own thing. So you can see this one is from the man. This only happens when I'm streaming too. I don't know why it does that. When I'm just like sitting here developing, this doesn't happen. And I even changed the capture card. But we see here, so there's a list of messages. Role, when you provide system, it gives it like you can provide it instructions on how you want ChatGPT to respond. So you can tell it, like, a good example they show on the website is like, respond as if you are a Southern Belle from the southeastern United States. It's a silly one. But then the role of user is any messages that we're generating and sending to ChatGPT. And then there's a third type, which I don't see necessarily on here. So they'll give us there's a third message that it will respond with third message type, where the role, and it's basically like it's this assistant one, I believe, is the third type. And that's the type where ChatGPT is generating data to send back to us. And so we need to track those and keep track. We need to identify those and track them, so that way when we are storing it in the database, we can figure out which ones are relevant and which ones we should be forwarding to ChatGPT again in future conversations. Because essentially what we'll end up doing is building like a bunch of entries in that messages field, depending on what we want to ask ChatGPT or what we're looking for in terms of conversation history. So a good example would be at the end of a workout week, the user says, I want ChatGPT to analyze the workouts that I did this week. And what we'll do is we'll generate one message, or we'll generate maybe, depends. We could generate one message, or we could generate 5, like however many they did. But we could generate this message and it'll contain all of their workouts. And if ChatGPT maybe talk to them in the middle of the week, we can include those as like in betweens. And so we have this like chat history is essentially what the messages field is for. And it gives us the ability to dynamically create this rolling window of when we send messages to ChatGPT and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm thinking and where I am right now. So I did start building a little bit of kind of what the model is going to look like. I like to use these plant UMLs because it allows me to update it as I'm going and kind of see how it's going to look without me having to commit to anything too hard. I don't like this name though. I do not like this name. But it is it is descriptive because so obviously the number one hot topic right now is like ChatGPT. But then there's a bunch of them. There's Google has their own, Meta has their own, Amazon I'm sure has their own. There's the new one, DeepSeek. So like there's all these different ones that are building. I want to generalize this object so that way it's not tied to a specific large language model. I want it to be just for keeping track of things that we've generated. And then that way we can, yeah, DeepSeek is rising. Yeah. So I wanted to make this like independent of the back end of whatever AI I'm actually connecting into. And then what I'll end up doing is having a specific domain for each AI. If I transition from ChatGPT to DeepSeek to whoever, I'm able to have that domain that handles that translation. But the model should be independent and should just be specific for me. And I just don't like this name. Let me think. I feel like having it just be something generic like message log or chat message or something seems not helpful either. And I feel like I do need to figure out the name because then I need the name without having to like update my migrations a bunch. Maybe we do chat log. No, I don't. Maybe something like that. I think that's okay. Let's copy this guy because we need to change it to. I feel like is AI chat log seems okay. And so we're gonna have it tied to the user because that's important for us. We need to know who the conversation is about and who's generating these messages. The enum is going to be the role type. There's going to be those 3 role types that we talked about. One for the system messages, one for user, and then one for assistant. Assistant being the ones that ChatGPT or the AI responded with. We're going to store the message that was generated. So this will actually be, whoops, I minimized. So it'll actually be this little guy. So what as the idea would be, I can just copy and paste this whole thing, not copy and paste, but take this content and just put it into this messages array, easy peasy, not having to do too much. And it'll be a JSON field, which is perfect. And then I thought about this kind of field, this Boolean include in future. The idea with that is there's going to be some messages that aren't going to be helpful or shouldn't be in conversation history. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to identify those yet, but it's something that I think I want to have that flag so that way when I'm trying to generate the conversation, like the list of messages, I want to be able to filter out ones that I don't want to include. So this I'm gonna have to figure out at some point, but for right now, I do want it. I just don't know how I'm going to identify them yet. And let's think. Is there anything that I'm missing? By default, because I'm gonna extend from base, my base model that I have created, I'm gonna get created and updated fields, which are perfect. So, but I don't need to include those in here. I don't think there are temporary chats, but I do not know if that applies to your scenario. Yeah, I need to do some playing around, and that's part of what I was hoping I could do today was just like mess around with this and see what happens. But first, let's just go ahead and build out the model and go from there. So what are we calling this? AI chat log? Is that what I named it? Okay. As usual, I just like to keep a example to the side because it makes it easier for me to remember what I need to do. Chat log, and it's going to be a base model. And I need to remember what the user model is. Contribs. And just copy this. I'm gonna tie to user, and our related field is gonna be chat log. That's fine. And we need a message. What is it? Role type. Oops. Equals. Oh, I have this thingy now. Huh. I haven't used that yet. Let's go here. And we want models.car field. And we want to use the choices. So what do we need? What are the three again? I already forgot. It's, oh man. System. We've got assistant. And not a comma. I don't know why I put a comma there. We have a user. Okay. And this is going to be our, what did we call this? Role type choices. And we're going to do this is the chat. This is the GitHub Copilot that I think because I set something up. I don't remember what I did. But I was trying to mess around with the GitHub pilot the other day, and it I think I got it configured. I don't remember. So this is gonna be max length equals 20. It's on the profile. Yeah, this is tied to my GitHub account, so that must be what this one is. choices equals role type choices. Default will be user. Do. Okay. I haven't ever actually used a JSON field in here. Do I want to name it? I'll call it message. That's better. Models dot JSON field. Let's actually come here. And wait, I feel like I have this open on another screen somewhere. Maybe not. Let's look on JSON field. Yeah, I think I used it from the GitHub, and I like installed the extension or something. Okay, encoder. That's fine. We'll just use the default. So do we need to provide anything else to this, or is it just like if you give the field a default, ensure? Do I not need to provide anything? Field for storing JSON encoded data. In Python, the data is represented as a dictionary. Perfect. Okay, so I just do that, I guess. I've never used a JSON field, so I'm not sure if there's anything I need to do fancy about it. Love that it keeps doing that. I gotta figure out what the heck is going on. And then we'll do a Boolean include in future. And we'll do default equals true. Perfect. All right, so let's do a string representation here. We'll do that guy. We'll return and we'll return the user, and we'll return role type. I think that's fine for now. Can figure out if we need anything else for debugging later. Okay. So that gives us our model. Let's come here and let's update this guy. What do we need for this? I don't think it's dependent on anything, so we're gonna do from AI chat log. We'll just put it at the top because that's fine. Then if we come back here, where are we? This guy, we're in our virtual environment. Apply our migration, perfect. Now, let's come here. Let's make our new domain. So we need an AI chat log.py. So you'll see I already made a ChatGPT domain. And one thing that you'll notice that's even more interesting is I actually have an init. Man, that's gonna make me go crazy. I swear I thought it was the capture card. It's got to be some of my laptop. You'll see I actually have an init for this domain. So in this case, all the other domains I was always working with a static class, whereas this one I'm actually going to be using a instance. And the reason why is I want to be able to establish this connection and reuse it over and over again without having to set it up for each operation. Perfect. So we have our domain that we're going to make. We have the model that it's going to be representing. Let's do class AI chat log domain. And what is a pattern? Have we been providing object as the, we have. I think this is, I don't need to, but it's just kind of habit at this point. Or to be consistent with all the other guys, I prefer. So let's build out. So we need a get by. Man, yeah, so Burke, the reason why I have, so the idea is that I want to have my backend in the models for the data that I'm retaining to be independent of whatever large language model I'm connecting to. So the idea is that I have kind of two layers here for the AI integration. So I'm going to have this AI chat domain that's responsible for interacting with the model that I have specifically. And then I'll have like an integration type domain on top of it where ChatGPT, it's going to be responsible for connecting to ChatGPT, and it will interact with the AI chat log domain to create the records that I need and like retrieve the records. So if I were to essentially, like, the idea would be if I wanted another one, maybe if I get to the point where I have like more than one, I probably want to come in here and I want to have like AI domains. And then I would have like, I would put ChatGPT under here and I would have like maybe a DeepSeek. And then I'd have connection information relevant to DeepSeek in here, or maybe Google's Gemini. I would have another one in here called Gemini. And so that would be idea, so that the connection and the logic associated with the particular large language model is within its own domain. And then the like how it actually interacts with my database and the information that I want, it has to go through this AI chat log domain to get to it. So that way it's kind of independent from one another. So we want to do a get by ID. And we want to be that. Is there something else we need? We probably want, we'll take these as well. These are going to be used. Is there anything else from here that I care about? Probably this guy at some point, but not right now. And we're going to return AI chat log. And we'll do another one for do that. Minimize this. Filter ID. Oops. In ID set, not all. And then we'll do, honestly, I'm just going to copy paste this because these are all the same. The only thing that's different is the model that we're working against. So we're going to change this guy. Ooh, we do need the AI model or the user domain. So from import user domain, and we'll do that. Don't need a select related here. Do I use PK for lookups or ID usually in models? Um, I don't. I mean, I think the convention that I've seen is on the gets. I typically will use the get based off of the primary key. But then whenever I'm doing filtering and stuff, I usually get by the ID itself. Safer. I was using ID everywhere, then read that PK is safer if you change it in feature. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I've just been kind of just using the ID, I guess, when filtering by the ID. But when I do specific, like get on a specific record, I've been using the PK instead. Filter query set by user is valid. Is there anything else we want over here that we care about? The only other thing is we're going to need to do a create AI chat log. And is there anything? Let's just pass for now. That's fine. So one thing that I'm immediately thinking about is when I want to select messages so from a ChatGPT perspective, I'm going to filter the query set by the user, and I should be getting it in the reverse order. So I wonder if, and I also am going to want to filter out any of the ones that are not required, and I'm going to want to limit how many I'm going to return. So I wonder if I should just go ahead and make another situation like that. Oh, I see. If I have other primary key field, I'm only using ID as a primary key field. I don't have any other primary fields listed currently. Hey, how's it going? So let's do filter query set by user. What do we want to name this? We want it to be filter query set by user only includes limit count, something like that. That doesn't. I don't like that. Because honestly, I'm not actually going to... This is the... If we remember, the filter query set by user, this was mostly for the GraphQL endpoints. So I'm going to keep it for now, but I don't know if I'm going to need it. I actually want to filter, I think, by this way up here. So let's do it actually a little different. Get by user ID, filter, and limit. So we'll do something like that. I think that's a little better. And so we want the ID of the user. So let's actually make this a little bit different. We'll do user ID. Then we will do limit is also an int. This will also return a list of AI chat log. And copy this because this is essentially the same thing. There. And Yeah, so what I want to do though is I could reuse this. And so you're correct. I probably should. Well, I guess that's where I need to double check if how this works within the query. Because I know if you do, there's like a couple ways, right? I can do a limit, or I could do the string, or not string, the list reduction at the end. So I wanted to check, let's double check to see which way. Pretty sure. Because I also want to do I want to change the order by it. So I should be able to do that because I can do order by. Because essentially what I think I'm going to do here is just do query set equals AI chat domain dot get, and I'll pass it the user ID. But then I want to do order, because I'm going to have a query set here. Yeah, slicing, order by, and I want to do, what is it? Oh man. What did I call it? Created by, I believe, is the base object. Created date. Because then, what is this? Slicing. Because this doesn't actually get evaluated until I do something like that. The length. Query set can be sliced using slicing is under. Oh, slicing an unevaluated query set usually returns another unevaluated query set, but Django will execute once you try to iterate through it. Okay, so yes, in that case then, for sure, I definitely want to... Why is this? Oh, because this is actually a query set. Why does it not like this? So I'm getting all of them for that user. I'm ordering by that, and then I want to do some kind of limit. So the idea would be I'm going to grab the last however many from the date created. So let's do, so we actually need, so let's actually do this first. If oops. Equals query set dot order by. No. Why must you do this to me? Date created, and we'll do the limit, and then we'll return query set. By the way, off topic, but do you accept PR in your project, or is it just a personal one I wanted to ask since week 1, but keep forgetting while understanding? No, I mean, if you wanna, I've been doing this as kind of a solo thing, as kind of how I approach the problems, and just kind of showing the workflow that I have as like somebody who's been doing this for a few years, and that kind of stuff. Honestly, if you want to do it as like a side project or like kind of follow along, it might be worth it to fork the repo and then look at the pull requests that are the user stories that I have and kind of do it your way, and then see how it compares potentially to what I end up doing. Because honestly, you might have better solutions than I come up with, and have different approaches to it than how I'm thinking about it. And it'd be cool to kind of do a compare. Yeah, the first couple weeks were a lot of kind of just like getting the project set up, walking through what I was trying to accomplish and trying to explain to people like what the vision I had for the project was. So it was a lot of the boilerplate that's associated with Django and getting the project going and all that kind of thing. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. This is going to return a query set potentially if the user ID is valid. Go away. So I'm going to check the query set is not none, and then I'll apply my extra filtering onto it. So the easiest thing to do to make sure it actually works, make a test. So let's make a new one, test. As usual, I like to start with something I know that I already wrote and that it works. So that's a terrible example because that doesn't use any users. This one's better. Let's grab all this stuff. Do we care about date time? Potentially. Domains, import AI. Oh, whoops. I need to add this to the top level here. Nope. That one. Silly. Yeah, chat log domain. Oh yeah, I gotta. Oh my gosh. It's that optional thing, right? I need to include the optional. I'm still getting used to doing the like the type hinting. I do like it, and I think it's very helpful to see it and like be using it, but it is it's a little. Dang, where did I use it? Oh, here. So I need to do optional here. Oops. 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 Like that? I guess that's right. I think that's how it should be. Where am I? Oh, I already had it. I'm so silly. An optional query set. Do I provide this hinting in a query set? Ah, really? It's the pipe for over 3.9. Type hinting, optional, return value. Let's put Python 3.11. Added in 3.5. Do. Oh, that's true. Oh, is equivalent to. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're right. I can either do changed in 3.9. Oh, 3.10. So in 3.10, optional can now be written as that or that. Oh, nice. Wait, what is it? I already blacked out. So I could do a query set of that or none. That's nice. I think I like this a little bit better. Query set. I think I like that a little better than the none or the optional. Let's get rid of that. Nice. Okay. That's kind of cool. I do like that a little better. Unfortunately, at my job, like we haven't even gotten to the point that we're even using type hinting. We I mean, it's not really required, so it's not a big deal, but it is I was actually working on building out some documentation for like coding standards and things for our project, so it's been interesting looking at our code and like trying to document how we could be making it better and following more best practices. See, I was reading, so I see you said like the MyPy. I would love to use MyPy, but I was reading that there's some weird behavior with the way it has issues with a few of the Django stuff from what it was looking like. So that's why I kind of haven't done anything with. I haven't imported it directly, but just been kind of doing it as like a side thing, in addition, just for readability. Okay, so we need this guy. Let's put this over here. Holy moly. Oh, okay. MyPy doesn't mess up with the project. Since it's optional, it doesn't interfere with Django. I know with the MyPy, or I was reading with the MyPy, you can have it run like a static analysis on it, and it'll do some checking, and that's where it like, if you do the checking execution, it runs into some issues sometimes with determining how some of that stuff is like set up or something is what I was seeing. But I think for right now, I think like this type hinting is really nice because then when I go to a different place and I need to call it, I get the little help text, which is really all I care about for right now. Okay, so let's create a couple test chat log, and we'll do create a couple of these guys. Whoops. User message will equal, oh man, how do I want to do this? For the message, because it's supposed to be JSON, I wonder if it makes more sense for me to honestly what I might do is just like importing types from typing module is good for backwards compatibility, but don't think we need it. Yeah, I think, well, the reason why I've been importing it is for, where is it? Where'd it go? It's really just been this optional guy, but since you mentioned like I can just not write optional anymore and I can just be like this, I don't even need this. But I think if I leave the optional keyword in the responses, like this is gonna get mad at me. So we'll do, I think I really do like it more like that anyway. It looks better than having that silly keyword. I think honestly, what I might do is just come in here and just like grab one of these sample messages because it really doesn't even matter. Here, I'm just gonna grab this guy because this is just for a test. That's a problem. Let's do this. That. Perfect. And we will do, we'll leave the include as a default. Let's copy this guy. We'll make a second one of these. And we'll make this one as include. Make it false. And went to a science fair last Friday. There. So now they're a little bit different, but still very similar. And we've created an instance, or we have our thing here. So let's look. Let's look at our domain that we need to test. So we need to have a test get by ID. We need a test get by ID set. We need, whoops. That's not how. Filtering and limit. Oh yeah, the any built-in. Yeah. Do that guy, and then do I have? Oh, I do have a couple more. Def test is valid ID. Def test create AI chat. Not Chad, chat log. Oops. And that's not supposed to be a semicolon. There we go. All right, so here's all our tests. And we have some samples here. Let me actually do this. I'm going to make a second test user 2, test user 2, test user 2, password 2. And I'm actually going to create a third entry here, and it'll be tied to test user 2, and we'll do Frank and Rose there. Perfect. Because that's what it's going to be. I'm going to use that one for this test. So let's do self.assert equal test. AI chat log domain get by ID self.test. Object. Okay, that's fine. Actually, I can do these later. That's not a problem. The ones that I was interested in was this guy. I gotta look to see what's going on. It has to be something with my computer now. Now that I'm like, it's still happening, it has to be a computer related issue. So this is the one I cared about and was interested in because I wanted to make sure this order by thing was working. So let's do this. I wonder if here. Let's go back to pass. I think what I might do is I think what I'm going to do is write a little script for this guy. Let me see. Yeah, what I'm going to do is actually make a third user. And this guy's going to be... I'm going to do a little... do something. So I'll do a for index in range 10. So this will generate from 0 to 10 or 0 to 9. We will do AI chat log dot create, and we'll do user equals self dot test user 3 role type. There, we can just copy the rest of this. But what I do want to do, not whatever that was. Man, that's driving me crazy. Content. We will do message, and we'll do oh man, what is it? Do that, and we'll do that, and we'll do index. Okay, we'll do index plus 1, so that way it's 1 to 10 instead of 0 to 9. Not like it really matters, but do that. Okay, so now we're going to create 10 messages for user 3, and so that way I can actually filter and limit. So let's do that. So let's do result equals, actually first, let's do how do we want to do this? I feel like I should do an assert at the beginning to like demonstrate that I have a bunch. So let's do exist or all user log or something, and we'll do AI chat log objects filter user equals self test user 3 all count. So that is going to tell us how many we have to start with, and that's perfect. So we have like a starting point, so we know how many the user has before the test started, and that way we can track to see how many they have in comparison when we filter and limit. So let's call result equals AI chat log domain dot get by user ID filter and limit. We also forgot to include filter include in future equals true. There. We forgot to apply the filter that we only wanted to include these guys. Okay. These should be Actually, let's do, that would be interesting. I could do a dynamic thing. We'll just do all true for right now. That's fine. So the user ID is going to be self.test user 3, and we're going to limit to 5. So self.assert equal, and we'll do 5 length of result. Did not get the expected number of results back. And what we should be able to do, because we are ordering by the reverse of the date created, I should be able to iterate through the result and verify that it's the last 5. So let's do that. Entry in result. We should be able to do, let's see, expected content equals message 10. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do something like that. So we want to take what this formatted message should look like and index equals 10. So what we should be able to potentially do is self.assert equal or assert true entry dot, or let's do this. Expected content index. So, oh, come on. I want extra quotes. In entry dot message. So we're checking to make sure that this message of message with 10 is in the actual body of the message here. And then did not get the appropriate message body or message content. Then we'll do index equals, or I can just do minus equal. We could also do a self.assert not equal. All user log and result. The result should have been a filtered list of entries. Cool. So come here, Python manage test awaken fit dot test dot domains. So that's still going to run all, 50 tests. So I have an error immediately, so that's not ideal. Field ID expected, but got that guy. Is it because I don't know how to call my test? It is. I needed to pass the ID. How silly of me. Oh, it's still errored. Okay, so AI chat log has no Okay, so that tells me this is what I was kind of afraid of. Oh, it's because I'm calling all on this, right? So doesn't all resolve the query set? So in that case, I can't actually reuse, I believe, this. So this isn't actually a query set, this is actually a list. So I actually need to do this myself, which is okay. I was trying to reuse because Burkave made a good point that like I should be able to reuse, or if I can reuse it, I should. So let's do this. Let's do this instead of that. Delete this. So now our query set were okay, and I can get rid of the redundant filters because I don't need both. I can just do this. Streamline. Delete that guy, save. So we're filtering on ID, include in the future, we're doing an order by, and then yeah, my dog's in the background roughing at the window. She's ridiculous. So my front door is like right here, and so we have like 2 windows on the sides of the door, and so we typically have blinds that cover them because I have 2 dogs and they literally both just sit there, one at each window, just looking out the front door, trying to see if there's people coming by, and then they just roof, 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 whenever anything happens. Okay. So unfortunately I had to do that like that, but run that again. Field ID expected a number but got built-in function ID. I've never seen that. Oh. Oh. It's because I'm silly and forgot to change that. That would explain it. Dude, what the heck? This one test. What am I doing wrong? I saved this, right? It's because I'm... Jeez Louise. Because I copied it from this guy, and this guy was expecting it. So let's actually do this. We'll do... What is this called? It's called frustration. Frustration. This test is called test AI chat log. There. This will be faster. Fail. Better. Did not get the appropriate message. So, where are we? We're here, so let's do print entry. I want to see what I got back. All these tests are empty, so it doesn't really matter. Test. Oh. I'm silly. I need to print entry dot message. Because that's what I'm actually running. Oh. Interesting. Why did it? Oh, because I'm thinking about 3 different things. Oh wait, why did it? It was message 1. I feel like it should have been 10. Now, something I need to think about is what I probably should do to make sure I like get them the way I want. Let's actually do this. Because I can't guarantee. So what's happening is during the setup, I can't necessarily guarantee that because I'm using an auto field for the time, I have a hard time like guaranteeing that this date created field is going to be different for each person. So there has to be a way for me to override that from a test. I should be able to just come in here and be like date created equals it's a date field. I don't need date time, I just need date. Oh, that is a problem actually. I do need date time because what if the user creates a bunch of like, so I probably want the last modified. So do you guys see what, I guess this is the issue that I'm trying to experience is if the user creates a bunch of messages on the same day, they're all going to have the same date created. So how can I reasonably deduce which one's the most recent? I could, I guess, combine date created by the date created and the ID as my like ordering. But I don't know if I don't like basing stuff off the ID. I wonder if I should just use the last modified since it's a date time. These shouldn't be getting edited. These shouldn't be edited. These won't be editable. By the user. So I wonder if I should do that. But the other issue I'm trying to figure out, or I'm trying to consider, is from a test perspective, when the setup is executing, they're getting created bang, 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 like really quickly in a row, right? So how much of a difference in time is there going to be for it enough for it to pick up that that the time is like different across the objects? Okay, so this time it did. So because I used the modified, it was better. So we see this guy. Do that. Do that. Run it again. Okay. Awesome. So we see it actually, that addressed the issue, and we actually got them in the order that we expected. Perfect. So we can get rid of this guy. Save. So that's good. So we know this guy is working the way we think. And it's unfortunate that we had to go away from using the get by user ID. But I think because of the fact that I was calling .all on the end, I'm pretty sure .all ends up resolving the query and making it the list instead of a query set. And in that case, this is also not going to be a query set. This will be a list as well because we're performing the slicing on it at the end. Okay. So let's just round out a couple of these real quick. Self.assert true. Test chat log whoops. AI chat log domain dot is self.test. There we go. And let's copy another one. And we'll just put in some tomfoolery. Then here, we'll do this. We're going to make a test query set. And it'll be AI chatlog dot objects dot filter. Yeah, so like you're saying, dot all, when you call the all function, it essentially resolves the query set and it executes the query against the database. So a query set is really like a select statement that hasn't been executed yet. And so as you add like the dot filters, the order bys, and all that stuff, it creates this giant query set or this select statement that you have. And then once you actually try to like iterate over it or manipulate the query set in any way, it actually will resolve the query set and it translates it. It'll actually call your SQL database and it'll translate it into actual records from the database. So filter, wait, I don't need dot filter. Okay, so now that I know it's not an issue with my capture card, I'm going to spend time after this to figure out why it keeps flickering. Okay, so we have our initial query set. And let's do a result equals AI chat domain dot filter query set by user. We're going to pass in our test query set and we're going to filter by self.test user. And we'll do self.assert not equal. We'll do len of test query set and len of result. The result query set should not match the original. And we should be able to go through for entry in result. Self.assert equal. We'll do a entry.user and we'll do self.test user. The resulting entry was not for our test user. There. Let's double check that our entry is that. Perfect. Let's run our test again. Error. Dang it. Test is valid ID. Oops. I forgot to change it from assert true to assert false. But the other test passed, so that's good. Oh no. Cannot resolve keyword workout into field. Test. Oh, yes, that would be problematic. Because, this was what I copied from the workout domain. And the user isn't a first order field in it. Oh, perfect. So our filter query set does what we want. Our other tests are working as expected. So we're feeling pretty good about this guy. Perfect. Let us close this for now. I can work on that later. That's fine. Where am I? Close that, close that. Okay. So this is where it's interesting. We have this mechanism, this domain to store data now. Then we have ChatGPT, another domain for actually interacting with the large language model. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating an instance of the OpenAI AI. I'm passing it the API key that I've saved in my settings, which is in turn saved in my environment variables. And so let's do this from .domains import AI log domain. So a couple of things that I need to consider or try to figure out. What are the operations that I should be able to make from this? I wonder if should I pass the executing user at, I guess I should so what I'm thinking first, anytime the ChatGPT interaction should happen, it's with a specific user. So I need to know the user. So I might as well, when I call this domain, I should be passing in the user that's executing it. So that way it has it. That's the first thing. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do user and we'll do, my gosh. Self.user equals user. So that way we always have the user. That way we know whenever we call any operations, whatever actions, because they're all going to be related to that user, right? Because we need to be creating entries against it. So that's the first thing. So I think we're going to pass that as a parameter. Another thing I need to think about is when I'm creating or when I'm calling the API, when I'm calling ChatGPT, how do I want to generate the message that I'm going to send? So there's like a couple ways. One, I could pass the objects that I want to have serialized to the JSON library that is provided to me through Python. I could do that and just let it do its magic. Two, I could add like converters in the objects. So if I go to here, I could have like to JSON, and this will return some JSON formatting. And then doing it that way is nice because it allows me to handle what fields I include. And that way I'm not by default including everything, because some of these fields might not be relevant in the calls. So that's one thing I need to consider. Another one I need to consider is like, how do I how am I going to, what operations am I going to be making available here? So like initially the first thing that I can think of is like def. I want to have it to uh, generate workout template, and I want to provide it with user goals, something like that. So one operation that I know for sure I want to have ChatGPT be able to do is say, I want it to be able to send a message requesting ChatGPT to generate a workout template for me based off of the user's goals. Okay, I know for sure I want that. Another one I think I want is evaluate past workouts. I'm not sure what the parameter is going to be yet. But the other one, the next thing I know I want ChatGPT to do, or whatever our model is, or AI model will be, is I want to be able to pass it like some workouts, and I want it to give me like, oh, you really did great on this muscle this week. You did really great on that one this week. Yeah, you should have user related fields. So when you send a prompt, you can provide the info to it. Can you provide, I guess, a little bit more context as to what you mean, Burke? So while he's hopefully responding, I'm just thinking these aren't going to be fields that, these are going to be fields. Right. So you need a master prompt to start. So the master prompt, what I think I'm going to do is have it be like some default system. It'll be, what is it called? Oh man, I already forgot. The system thing, the system message, and it'll be something kind of default for most users. It'll be like, I want you to pretend you're a professional fitness instructor or something like that. Will be kind of I'll play around with it, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be. There'll be some system message that'll be the top level that'll get included every time to the chat GPT calls. That'll be the first message in the list of messages that we create. But then after that, I'm sure that's what I guess I'm trying to think about is like what kind of operations I am going to provide and how I'm going to generate those messages to send. So I know I want to be able to have ChatGPT give like an analysis or a breakdown on your past workouts. So if you, maybe we tell at the end of the week. So like for me, a great example that I'm doing right now is each day I put in my workout log, and then at the end of the week I ask it to give me an analysis for my week and tell me how I did in terms of like personal bests, volume, where I could have done better on different muscle groups, like stuff like that. And those kind of analysis I think would be cool to generate, because then that type of stuff I would just be relaying to the user. I don't know if I necessarily need to store those entries in the log. So We want to generate a workout template, evaluate past workouts. Maybe we'll start there. We'll start there with these two. I think that's fine. Actually, before I get too far down, let's actually finish putting this in. We need the user, which is a user. This is going to be a role type, which is a string, and a message, which is a string as well, and then include in future, which is a bool. This will return a AI chat log. Oops. We'll return all right, I got like one more time of it freaking out on me, and then I'm gonna probably call it a day and try to spend some time figuring out why it keeps flickering. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Not whatever that is. And include, future equals include. Okay. Boom. There's that. What did we change over here? Why is this? Oh. Yeah, so I definitely think I want to have I'm going to use this to JSON on my objects and then go from there. So let's look at the documentation on this guy. So we want to call client chat completions. Don't think this is what I want. I want the what was I looking at? That doesn't look right. Yeah, I wanted this guy. What is this? Why is this showing up? I want this one. Okay. Yeah, so see, I can provide... Oh, wait. Developer is the role, not system. So it's developer. Interesting. It's fine. Because I'm going to be using this guy, the text completions. Chat completions create, and then you pass it the model, and you generate the messages that you want. Okay. Yeah, here's the 3 roles. So it's user. Oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy. User, developer. I knew it was somewhere. I just was looking in the wrong spot. And assistant. So we have developer, assistant, user. Okay. See, this is where I was talking about. You are a helpful assistant that answers programming questions in the style of a Southern belle. So we need to look here. Okay, so okay. All right. I think that's about as much as I can handle of it flickering right now. It's crazy because it only flickers when I'm streaming. So there's got to be something going on with my MacBook that I need to investigate, because I did switch the capture card, and that doesn't seem to have resolved the issue. So Um, yeah. So we were able to get the model or the model, yeah, the database model, a basic representation of the domain that we want to interact with that model. And we kind of talked about that I want to have different domains. Developer spelling, do you need model field in also in ChatGPT domain? Mm. Oh, I have to spell developer right. As for having it in each domain, that's a good question. I'll have to think about it because that is specific. Well, it might be a situation that I have to provide, depending on the LLM that I end up using, there might be some translation for the messages. So like maybe DeepSeek doesn't call those messages developer, they call them system or something. So there may need to be some translation that I do there. But at least from a database that I own, Awake and Fit database, keeping them and storing them as developer messages makes sense. But then the domain we're interacting with whatever LLM I'm interacting with, there's going to be some translation there. So that's a good point. That is something here. Let me actually mention it here. So that's kind of I'll have to that's something to be aware of. So if I were to introduce another domain for DeepSeek or Gemini, whatever, there might need to be some translation of the roles to whatever their keywords are that they use. But today we got some good progress. We kind of talked through, I put together, or we talked about a little bit of the model updates that we're doing, this AI chat log object, and how that fits in with the rest of our pieces. We got the database model, the model.py file for the AI chat log. We also introduced the new domain for it, and we started kind of talking about how we want to do the integration with the different LLMs. I'm going to spend some time figuring out what the heck is going on with the flickering. There's got to be something going on with my MacBook that's causing that to be a problem. So hopefully, fingers crossed, not too bad. Maybe it's like some software update that I'm missing, but I will work on that. Oh yeah, you're saying the different LLM versions that they have. Yeah, they have where to go? You're talking about this field, the model field. Yeah, I'll there'll probably be some static. I'll probably include it as some I'll probably include it as a static attribute here for now. So that way I'm consistently using it and it's not statically or it's not like a static string that I include somewhere else. But those are good points. Let me make another note. Yeah. Cool. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it today. I know I'm trying to do more than 2 hours, but I just keep having these technical issues, so it's driving me a little crazy. Well, I will probably be back maybe maybe this weekend. We'll see. Next week, I actually have training for work, so I have like a full day of training next Friday. So I'm not sure what time I'll be able to do this. Maybe I'll do it in the like an hour in the evening on Friday, or maybe another day. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of where we're going to leave today. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.